All right, guys, so today what we're going to be working on is we're going to actually be working on multiplying some more fractions. However, you're going to see that as written in decimal form, so you're going to have to convert it to fraction, or you're going to have to convert it to a decimal when we're kind of done with it. So you'll kind of see what we're doing with this, but we are able to multiply by doing what we've normally done for the last couple of lessons, where all you do is you just multiply straight across. So the first one is done for us, and we are going to show it on a model. So this shows me that I have 1, and what you're going to do is you're going to color in 1/10. So I colored in 1/10, and I multiplied it by 1/10, so I only color in 1/10 of that. This is what I'm looking at, so that when I look at it, I have only 1 out of 100 colored in. So that when I multiply straight across, 1 times 1 is 1, 10 times 10 is 100. So that to write this in decimal form, I have it as 1/10 times 1/10 is going to give you 100th. Okay, so this one is 4/10 times 3/10. So I'm going to do 4/10, and I'm going to multiply it by 3/10. Okay, so that when I go ahead and multiply this, now I'm going to have 4 times 3 and then 10 times 10. And when I multiply it straight across, I'm going to get 12, because 4 times 3 is 12 and 10 times 10 is 100. So I'm going to have 12 hundredths. So if you look at this, guys, and if you count it up, there would be 12 of these that are shaded in out of 100 altogether. So to write this in decimal form, it's going to be 4/10 times 3/10 equals 12 hundredths. Okay, this one's a little bit different because it's got a 1 and 4/10. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say this is 1 and then this is 1. Okay, so before I do this though, I'm actually going to convert that into a fraction. So it's actually going to be 14/10. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go ahead and show 14/10. And when I multiply it, I'm only going to multiply it by 1/10. So I'm going to color this in real quick. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to multiply straight across. I have 1 times 14 and then 10 times 10. So then I get 14 hundredths, or how to write 14 hundredths is going to be over here. I'm going to write this as 0.1 times 1 and 4/10, because remember it's 14/10, so it's 1 and 4/10, because I can't have 14/10. If I put it as 0.14, that would be 14 hundredths, and it needs to be 14/10. And then it's going to be 10 times, oh, sorry, I'm doing this backwards. And so then my answer would be, if I have it, it's 14 hundredths. To write 14 hundredths, it's going to be 0.14, okay? This might not make sense, but as long as this does, you are perfectly fine. This is just to kind of be able to see what is going on, because remember, when you're multiplying from a decimal by a decimal, a fraction by a fraction, it's going to continue getting smaller. It's not like it's a whole number. So these ones are where it's going to be a lot easier, because you guys are going to be able to see how this is multiplied across. The first one is done for us, and it says 5 times 7/10, so I have 5 times 7/10. Remember, 5 has that little invisible 1 underneath, so I'm going to have 5 times 7, and then it's 1 times 10, which is 10, so they already did that. 5 times 7 is 35, it's 35/10, and to write 35/10 is 3.5. So they've already done this. They converted this into the fraction, 5/10 times 7/10. 5 times 7, 5 times 7, 10 times 10, 10 times 10. Okay, so 5 times 7 is 35, 10 times 10 is 100, it's 35 hundredths. Okay, this next one, they've started it out. They did 5 hundredths times 7/10, so be careful when you do this. Make sure you're watching. I'm going to multiply 5 times 7. I'm going to get 35, and then 100 times 10 is 1,000. So then this answer is 35 thousandths. Now I am going to tell you guys one thing. Don't just think that all you do is just move that decimal over. You need to really do the work to see what the answer is going to be. So now I have 1 and 2/10, or 12/10 times 4. And remember, it's got that invisible 1. So I'm going to do 12 times 4, and then 10 times 1 is 10. I'm not going to write that one out again. So 12 times 4 is going to give me 48. So I've got 48/10, and that's written as 4.8. If you guys do not know, or it's kind of a little bit confusing how to write this in decimal form, grab your place value chart out and you guys can write that in that place value chart so that you have it. I've got 12 tenths again, because it's the same thing, 1 and 2 tenths times, this one is going to be 4 tenths. Okay, don't have to multiply that out again because I already have that. So I've got 12 times 4, and then 10 times 10. Now, this is a step you guys could skip as long as you guys know I'm just multiplying that across. So if you don't want to write that, you don't necessarily have to. So I know that 12 times 4 is 48, and my answer is hundredths. So it's going to be 48 hundredths as 0.48. Okay. Now I've got 12 hundredths times 4 tenths, and I don't need a decimal there, my goodness. Okay. 12 times 4 is going to be 48, and then 100 times 10 is 1,000, so it's 48 thousandths, or 0.48.